Hello and welcome to the Lee Stafford Education Facebook Live. The haircut I'm going to share with you this evening is a haircut called Sheila. And I'm dedicating it to my old mate Stacey Broughton, who was the best haircutter in the world for the last 20 years. And I had the very good fortune of literally working with Stacey for 5 years, and every other week he'd come around my house and we'd do some hair together, mainly me watching Stacey do hair. And this haircut that I'm going to do tonight is a haircut that I watched Stacey do once. And I've named it after him, the Sheila, because he likes to be called Sheila. Don't ask me why, but he does. So that's the haircut I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. It's, well, I'm going to let you judge whether you think it's a creative or a commercial. It's very rich in technique, and it's got a lot, it's a real big mashup of the Lee Stafford Education recipes. It's got the short graduation in it, it's got the uniform layer, it's got the long grad, it's got the one length above, so it's got lots of recipes mashed up together. So that's the haircut that we're doing. I've also got a great lineup of live guests in the room tonight. First of all, we've got the one and only Desmond Murray! Woo! Legend himself. And we'll be grilling Desmond a little bit more later. We've also got Catchpole, who is also a legend from North Kent College. So she's here this evening, and she's brought along another legend, Ruby, who's one of the students at North Kent College. So we'll be asking Kim and Ruby some questions later. And we've also got my cousin, Aaron, who likes to be called Karen. And he's here this evening. We don't know quite what he's doing, but he's doing something on the computer like he normally does. So that's all the people in the room for you this evening, okay? So let's start with this haircut. So
like and share if you can hear us.
Oh yes, like and share. If you can hear us, if you've got the camera up the wrong way, right way, then like and share, or just like and give us some wows if it's all in the right, centre thing, you can hear us. Okay. So let me start with the haircut. So this haircut, it's quite rich in a sectioning pattern, and let me just explain to you how we did this sectioning. It looks quite complicated, but it's not that complicated. And once you've actually got the sections in, then the rest of it is an absolute piece of cake. So let me just explain how we did this sectioning. So first of all, we just run a centre parting down the middle of the head. And then from that centre parting, we put in like a classic sort of triangle fringe, really. It wasn't from the high point, it was just in front of the high point. So similar to how we do our fringes on the one length above, but a little bit in front. So once we got that triangle in, the most difficult part of this was putting in this kind of star shape here. So we wanted this star shape, we didn't want it to be too wide and we didn't want it to be too skinny. And what I mean by that is that we don't want it to go any further down than where the head really starts to round off. So, I know the head is round, but, it really starts to round off sort of there, doesn't it? So we just wanted to have that section before the head really started to round off. And it went back to the crown there. So we literally went back to the crown there, and then all we did is done 2 lines, and I just kind of done a bit of symmetry there that we automatically got there. And if you measure it with a comb, it was a good third of a comb. That's an average size comb. It's an average size wire part. So it's about a good third. So once we've got that, all you did then is gone from the centre of that star all the way down to just behind the ear and at the back on both sides. Yeah, and once you've done that, all we did there is went from the top of the ear, and we literally, there was the occipital bone there, and there was the crown there, and we just kind of went in the middle there. So in the middle, top of the ear, which gave us our 2 sections there. So quite systematic, really. So how we're going to start off is, this is going to be very similar to how we cut our short graduation at Lee Stafford Education. So I'm just going to get this bit out of the way. Again, this is where the head really starts to round off on both sides. So we've just got this centerpiece. Kim, I'm going to grill you here. The short grade. That first section that we take.
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah.
You know, we pull it out horizontal, don't we? Can you remember what length that is?
Oh.
This first section here. So.
Your pressure's on, Kim.
Pressure, isn't it?
So when we pull this bit out.
Can't remember.
Can you remember, Ruby?
Your husband's
Is
rooting
it
for
a third
A third
of the cone?
of a cone. Give me a high five. All right.
Switched up on a
So,
Sunday.
so literally, we're going to pull this out, and it's going to be about a third of a cone, right? And what we're looking to do here is I'm moving my body around so that it's rounded. It's not going to be square. So, moving my body around here as well. Just taking it straight out from the head, horizontal. So that's it, nice and easy. Just literally followed the head shape. All we're going to do now is we're going to take a section right down the middle. So there's only going to be 3 sections here, so it's really simple. Let's get that out of the way. So I'm just going to pull this straight out from the head. I'm using the top piece that I've just cut as my guide. So I'm really pulling this out, making sure that my elbow is nice and straight so that I'm going to get a nice straight line all the way down. And I'm not really cutting it right into the neck. I'm just cutting it like we do with the short grade, just slightly into the neck, but not really angling it in. And I'm literally going to do exactly the same on both sides of them sections now. So I'm just looking to, I'm not going to over direct it, just going to put it straight out from the head so we just get exactly the same as what we've got there. So before we started the Facebook Live this evening, we spent an hour with Desmond trying to work out all the awards that he's won, right? That's how many awards he's won. He cannot remember them all, right?
That's pretty embarrassing.
I mean, these are the ones he can remember. He's won 8 awards, and 9 awards. He's won 9 awards: British Hairdresser Awards, Black and Beauty Awards. He's in the Hall of Fame, and he's also been an 8-time finalist at the British Hairdresser Awards. So that is 17 wins and nominations. And what is really interesting as well is that Desmond also now does photography, right? And he has helped 10 other people with his photography win awards. One of them was Chris Appleton, which I was really impressed by. Chris Appleton is now like the Kardashians.
He is massive now.
So he's massive, isn't he?
That was a long time ago though.
But even still, mate, I mean, that's where it started for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, yes.
What was he like?
He is very ambitious. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he's very organised. And you could tell from earlier on he was going to be major.
You think so, really?
Yeah, but only because he was so determined and so driven, and also so passionate.
And so tell me this. I'm very curious about this. You've obviously been very, very successful with awards.
Yes.
How do you plan your awards?
Well, there is a method to the madness. I actually do a course, and I work for a product company called Matrix, and we do a photography / hair course. And the hair course consists of how to get a great image, and also how to plan for an award. So anyone that's thinking of doing the award, one of the main things I would advise them to think about is, first and foremost, what are the rules? So whatever rules there are, just make sure you know what the rules are. Secondly, just to see the past winners, just to see the standard and the quality of the work, because your work needs to be on par, if not better, but obviously you put your own stamp on it. Thirdly, know who the judges are, because again, so say for instance, if someone like Trevor Sorby judges, you'd find you have to do something quite clever, and borderlining quite avant-garde-ish.
So are you saying that you were around the British Hairdresser Awards where you've got like 100 judges?
Yeah, so in that situation, Okay, so the first bit of the British Hairdressing Awards, you have to submit 4 photographs.
Yeah.
And the first 4 are judged by the Hall of Fames. So everyone that's in the Hall of Fame is judged by all the hairdressers, not the editors.
Yeah.
So you know that you've got to throw in a bit of haircut, you've got to throw in maybe some colour or something to appeal
So a
to
bit of a
hairdressers.
variety.
Absolutely, but to hairdressers. So the second round is judged by the Hall of Famers and the editors. So the second round, so you submit four photographs initially, and then you've got to submit another 4, and collectively the 8 gets judged. So the second round, you'd probably put something in a little bit more commercial, a little bit more kind of relatable, if you like.
But how important is the photography? Is getting the right models?
Exactly. So one of the main things that I go through is any shoot or anything to do with imagery. I was quite fortunate because at the start of my career in the 80s, I used to work at Vidal Sassoon, and then once I left, I just wanted to get an editorial book together with loads of hair, wonderful hair and stuff. So I decided to just go with models and do their hair free of charge, etc., just to get great images. And while I was there, I went to this photography studio, and it was in the Isle of Dogs, and I met 2 great photographers. One, his name is Max Bradley. He's very editorial. He used to do Vogue, Elle magazine, etc. The other one was called Paul Panic. He was very technical, and he knew everything about cameras, everything about developing film, etc., etc. And those guys, I asked them if I could do a trade-off. So if they taught me photography, I'll do their hair free of charge. And I was with them for 2 years. Anyway, a story that changed my life. I remember doing this, once I got taught and everything, I started doing my own shoots and stuff. And they let me have the studio, obviously, and stuff. So I've done this amazing haircut on a really good friend of mine. And I got her in, and got makeup artists, got clothes stylists, and done the shoot. And in those days, it was filmed, so you had to send the film off. A week later, it came back, and I was really super excited and happy about getting the imagery back. And I got it back, and I really liked it. And I said to Max, Max, what do you think? And Max looked at it, and he says, it's a load of crap. And I was like, what? Anyway, my life changed as of from then. Because I says, why do you say that, Max? He says, well, Des, everything's amazing. Your lighting's great. Your photography's great. Makeup's great. Hair's great. But your model let me down.
Yeah.
And ever since he said that to me, I learned a really important lesson. Because I thought to myself, you know what? At the end of the day, you could do the greatest hair on earth.
Yeah.
But if you haven't got the right face, in order to get that look, then it's not going to work.
It's true.
The imagery is not going to come across. So after that day, one of the main things I always stress on, especially when I do this seminar, is 60% of any image or any great image is the blank canvas is the model. Yeah. So it's worthwhile spending time to get a great model and time and money or whatever, because that's going to represent whatever you put on that model's hair, whether it's male or female. At the end of the day, that's going to represent you and your brand.
Absolutely.
So
that's it, guys. You've got to get a good model, right?
Yeah.
Same with the colleges, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you want your work to shine,
100%.
it's true. Let me just do a little recap here before we go on. So,
it looks great, by the way.
Thanks, Ryan. So basically, what we did is up until that point there, it was pulled out, and everything was pulled out straight from the head. So that was just nice and simple, nice and round. Just, you know, like a uniform layer, but slightly graduated, yeah? And then when we've come to this part here, what I did on this side, I'm going to do exactly the same on this side now. So what I'll do is literally I'm going to pivot now. So this is similar to what we do the short asymmetric. We pivot that corner section. So literally, I'm not going to travel any further here now. It's only going to be travelling around the bottom as I pivot. And it'll only be 3 sections. So So Kim, I'd like to ask you a question, hun.
Yeah.
So as we pivot this, just going to, my finger angle wants to be exactly the same as the section that I've taken. And what I don't want to do is move my body around too much. If I move my body around, I'm going to start to round it off. When I was on this side, I consciously kept my body more over this side, so I made sure I over-directed it. So when you look at this bow, when you come in, I cross-check it, you can see that it's dead square. Everything is square there now. Can you see that? Nice and square. So if I want the same on the other side, my body's got to be exactly the same. So as I did it on the other side. So literally, my finger angle is going to mirror that what I've done there. My body's going to be over here consciously, so I'm going to be making sure that I over-direct that. So Kim, how long have you been partnered now with the Lee Stafford Education model, and why did you get involved with it, Kim?
Right, okay, so I wanted to do something that was really going to make us unique as a college, and something that was make us stand out from other colleges. And I'd heard about the Lee Stafford Education programme, and I kind of took it from there. So made some inquiries, you know, and then got on to Neil and Kim, and basically it started from there.
And how and what have
the reason I went for Lee Stafford because I kind of followed you when I was a young hairdresser and liked the way that you did things. So you kind of inspired me when I was younger, and that's why I wanted to go with Lee Stafford. And basically, the rest is history. I mean,
and what have we done together, Kim? What, since we've been sort of collaborating together, how has it worked?
Well, I mean, I think it's changed the whole ethos really of the college in a way for hairdressing, because all of the lecturers now all follow the recipes. So they're teaching all the students the recipes. So all of the work is standardised. So it doesn't matter whether they're going to Kim's class, Tina's class, Karen's class, we're all doing it exactly the same. Because prior to that, the students would go, oh, Kim showed me that way, she showed me that way, and they'd get a little bit confused. Whereas now, we're all doing it the same way, so it's completely and utterly standardised. I mean, I think it's been an amazing journey, not just for the students, but also for the lecturing team, because we all had to retrain. You know, I'm no spring chicken, and that was like, you know, quite difficult to you know, rethink the way I did things at my age was quite difficult. But the whole lecturing team took it on board. You know, they were so open and took it on board, and we loved every minute of it. And I mean, I would recommend Lee Stafford Education to any college really. So if you are a college, you know, pick up the phone.
But tell me this, Kim, because you just put the name above the door and it all happened, right?
No.
You know, what did you have to do?
Right, so you can't just put the name above the door and think, okay, that's it, everyone's going to come to North Kent College. You have to go out and do your own bit of marketing, you know, pull your boots on, go out, go and speak to salon owners, and, you know, it's no good putting a leaflet out because people just pick up leaflets and they just get probably thrown in the bin. So you have to go and talk to people. That's what I do. You know, that's the way I think that you should do it. You have to go and introduce yourself. This is what we're doing. Come and see what we're doing. Come and see, you know, if you take on an apprentice
Well, you
with
was
us.
proactive with it, Kim.
Oh, 100%, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. You've got to be proactive with it. It's like anything. You get out what you put in. It's true. It's true.
Very true. Very
you know,
true.
so you do have to go out and do that. And fortunately for us, you know, it is paying off, especially on the apprenticeship side of things. And it's going to make you stand out and make you unique. You know, I feel that North Kent College Hairdressing now is unique in what we have to offer. it's the standout place to go.
Yeah, it's definitely been a team effort, hasn't it?
Oh, 100% team effort.
Let me just bring you over here. So what we've done here, very, very simple, straight out. We've done that section out there, horizontal, 3/4 of a cone, and it was just rounded all through that section. Literally, we followed that line, that star line down there, really. So before the head really rounds up. That was all just round. And then we've just pivoted from there to keep a little bit more weight behind the ear. So now we're going to go into these star sections here. So the star section. So now these are going to be disconnected really from the sections underneath. So that, to be quite honest, that underneath was the most difficult section of the whole lot. The rest is an absolute doddle really from here. So, and that weren't that hard, that underneath section. So just going to get rid of them because I've had the hair in quite strong bumps. You know, when you take it down, you can get strong partings in it. So no, I'm right, thanks, mate. Sure. So just literally just wet it down so you don't get them real defined partings. So now we're just going to do a uniform layer. All on that section there is going to be a uniform layer. So I'm not going to worry too much about that length that I've got underneath now. As I pull that up, it can be a bit disconnected. All I'm worried about now is this length that I'm cutting here. I don't want it to be really cropped, but I want it to be short enough that it's gonna kind of give a bit of texture off of the head. So I'm just literally cutting it in a uniform layer. As you can see, that is disconnected from there. And then I'm just gonna literally keep these sections horizontal, not horizontal, talking about vertical, and I'm just pulling them straight up. And I'm just going to literally now follow this all the way around, just pulling it straight out from the head, just so that it's a, oops, breaking the cricket team, wasn't I? Literally just pulling it straight out from the head. So I'm just going to continue all the way around here, just pulling it out like you would do a uniform layer. So you know one thing that I'm interested in knowing, Des, yeah, because I haven't entered awards now for a few years.
Yeah, you were up for British, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I mean,
a couple of years.
I was, yeah, and you know, and it can. I loved entering the awards for all the reasons that you said earlier. Yeah. You know, it's not just about the winning; it's about, and we say this in the colleges, don't we? It's about when you enter awards. It's all about, you know, the excitement and it improves your technique and it can get you noticed. I mean, it's so many positive things.
Of course, yes.
But how much does it cost these days to seriously be a contender? So I know there's some people out there that are spending an awful lot of money. Well, what does a young person have to spend these days?
Well, let's start from the pinnacle. So someone that's up for British, for instance,
yeah, like
you're up for British yourself, they can pay anything from, I reckon, from 10 grand to 60 grand. Yes, Wayne.
That's inflation's a bugger, isn't it?
That's unbelievable. However, obviously, you know, when you're competing on that level, you know, that's a pinnacle of our industry. So you want the best, obviously. So that's.
Is there progression though, Des? Like a young person, they would enter in maybe one of the more regional first.
Yeah. So if you're young and you're thinking of entering the awards, there is a category called newcomer. And newcomer, I think it's under 25, and you have to submit 4 photographs initially, and it used to be another 4 after that, so it used to be 8. However, they've changed it to 6 images now to make it easier, and also easier on the pocket as well. Of course. So, you know, that's obviously a good one to enter. My advice though, if you are starting out and you've got very limited funds, a really good thing is to try and obviously to get a model, you can't afford to go to an agency and pay for a model. So I would go to maybe colleges. Colleges have amazing, good-looking girls and guys that can be used for potential modelling. And the way to find out is quite easy, guys, is we've all got mobile phones. go in a spot where it's like plain light or flat light. Just take a snap picture with your phone, and you'll get a rough feeling.
What should you look for in a model? Because you say that a lot of people they still make schoolboy errors, don't they?
Well, obviously your phone will tell you the truth if it's on flat light. However, one of the main things that I look for is a model's got to be pretty gangly. So, and it sounds really rude saying this. However, as you all know, obviously we're on camera now. The camera puts a bit of weight on you.
You tell us now.
In fact, you're
guys, hold on a minute, guys.
Kim,
I don't make the rules.
Could you look?
Hold on a minute, guys. Hello.
No more sweets.
Exactly. It's trying to fuck us up.
There's sweets in the thing.
Anyway. So I don't make the rules, guys. That's just the way it is, unfortunately, and you know it does. Anyone that's pretty gangly. What I mean by gangly is, you know, if they've got long limbs, so long arms, kind of quite chiseled on the face. It doesn't necessarily have to be chiseled on the face, but that does help.
A good bone structure, you mean? Like
Good,
that.
yeah, but sometimes you can have good bone structure, but you're not photogenic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, taking a photograph of someone with your phone will help, and not only taking it from the front, but take it from the side as well, the profile, so you can see the jawline and stuff like that. And then, once you've got your model, and I always say that your model is your blank canvas, because once you've got that blank canvas, you can put anything on top of the head, and hopefully it'll look great. So I think your model's your key, and then once you've got a model, so you go to colleges. There's one collection that I shot actually. It was a men's collection, and it got through to the finals. It didn't win. I just opened my shop in Covent Garden. I had no money whatsoever to do the awards. But I still wanted to do the shoot. So I came up with this concept. There was this guy that sold a big issue outside Covent Garden Station. It was a handsome devil he was. He's got a beard, moustache, he looked a bit like Jesus. And I looked at him, I thought, wow, he'll make a great model. So I plucked the courage up one day, I went up to him and asked him, I says, if I give you all the beer you can drink and give you a bit of money, will you do a shoot for me? He goes, oh, of course. Anyway, so I based this shoot on this guy with his beard. And everyone that I got, they were from the street. So I'm just seeing guys on the streets, and I'd literally just approach them and say, I'm doing the British Hairdressing Awards, and I need some models. Here's a card, give me a call. And 9 times out of 10, they would give you a call. And that's how I got my models, and I got through to the finals with that. So it just goes to show that you can actually, you know, get street models, and they will work, and they will get you through.
I've got a question for you, Des.
Go on then.
Do you think concept is important?
Well,
Just
I was
before-
coming on to that.
Just before you do that, let me just crack on with this.
Yep.
So all we've done in this section here, we've done the short graduation there, a little recap, and then we pivoted just behind the ear to keep length and weight. These sections here, we did a uniform layout, so we pulled it straight out from the head. Didn't worry about connecting it to the bottom. We just worried about that length. Didn't want it to be too short, like crop, but we wanted it to create a little bit of texture, yeah? And that's just been a uniform layout all the way around, not connected to that at all. So now we're going to go to this front section here. So I'm going to do one section. I'm going to let Des finish that question. So with this now, we want to have a little bit of continuity with the back. The back's been kind of sat in like that, and we want to sit this fringe in a little bit. So this is going to be very, very similar to how we do the long graduation at Lee Stafford Education. But whereas we do the long graduation and we do it right up there, this one's going to be right down there. And whereas the long graduation is all pulled into the middle, so we get a nice concave shape, this, I'm just going to cut it very, very square. But that squareness is going to give me a rounded fringe. So what I'm going to do now, if you come over... Actually, no, this is a better way. actually. This is a better way, just here. So if you come just from this side, so if I pull this fringe up now, so I want to take it right through the middle. Right through the middle there. Let's get that out of the way and get that out of the way. And we're going to pull that right the way up. So it's going to be on like a 45-degree angle. So we're going to cut that quite short. Might need to go a little bit shorter. Actually, I'm going to come this way now. Because that's all right there, but I need to angle that more in. That's it. It needs to go right short like that there. So you can see that, can't you, Kim? It's like the long graduation that we do, but a very, very short version of that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue taking vertical sections, just pulling it all up to meet that first section that I did. And I'm going to be cross-checking it to make sure it's nice and square, nice and simple. What was that question again, Al, for Des?
How important do you think concept is when it comes to having an awards, having a bash at the awards?
So a concept is really, really important. I think, say again, I'm very fortunate to have won men's this year. And
really, round of applause in the room. There's winning men's. Get in there.
So I entered London and men's, and both of them had really strong concept. So men's, for instance, earlier on we were talking about Charlotte Tilbury, and Charlotte Tilbury has been an amazing inspiration for me. And I'll tell you a quick story. I know Lee's doing a haircut, I don't want to take too much of your time.
Go on, mate.
But okay, so I went into Selfridges about a year and a half ago maybe, and I walked past the Charlotte Tilbury counter, and I saw these amazing images, and I was like, oh my God, I literally stood there for about 5-10 minutes just looking at these images.
Billion dollar images, isn't they?
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, I looked at them and I thought, you know what? That's why I got into hairdressing, to do lovely hair like that, or beautiful hair like that. And also, that's why I assisted Max and Paul, photographers in the 80s, to do lovely images like that. Why am I not doing it? So I came up with this concept, and it's called Pop-Up Shoot Imagery. It's on my Instagram, and it's driven by Instagram actually. And I just wanted beautiful images for my Instagram. And not only that, I just wanted beautiful images for myself, because after all, we are in an industry that, you know, we're there to do beautiful haircuts and beautiful hair dressing. Anyway, so I started this shoot thing called Pop-Up Hair Imagery. And what it consists of is I work in conjunction with a model agency, and I take a day out and I do, I'll probably get about 4 or 5 models, and all I do is beautiful hair and I shoot it right in the agency. Very little, minimum light, but maximum results. And again, that's all on my Instagram page. However, I've done a pop-up shoot for men as well, and the images were really good, and I thought, well, I should really hold on to some of these images and throw them in the hair awards, see what happens. And I've done exactly that.
And won?
well, no, not yet. Not quite yet. So once I put them in the hair awards, I thought, wow, this is quite cool. I got through to the final. And men's is a really tough category. I mean, you know, like
I saw that this year. There
yeah,
were so many great
not
images.
only that,
A lot of interest.
A lot of,
but a lot of interest. You judge it, Lee, so you know. I judge it as well. I don't judge it, but
Did you vote for your own awards?
No, of course not.
That
sounds really crap. No, I judge because I'm in the Hall of Fame. And you obviously you can judge, obviously, but I can't judge anything I'm affiliated with.
Sure.
However, I saw the amount of entries, and I thought, God, it'd be great to get through. And luckily, I got the phone call that you get a text, and I'm like, oh my God, I got through.
Oh, is that how they do it?
Yeah,
There's not even a letter anymore. You don't
no,
even get like
text
a
it.
beautiful
Well,
heavy letter.
everyone's really excited. So,
Sure.
And I shot about 12 images, 12 other categories for other people, and I got altogether I've got 7 through to the finals.
That's just this year alone.
Yeah, this is good fun.
See, I told you he's a workaholic.
But you still haven't told us how much it costs to do it.
Well, I'm coming to that. That's what I'm saying. I've got this quite a long, winded kind of thing. Anyway, so going back to the concept. So the concept behind the men's
Now, just
collection.
can I just stop you 1 sec, just while I talk about this, then we go straight back to that. So as you can see, this fringe here, it's all been cut at a 45-degree angle, all pulling it straight out from the head. So when you cross-check this, if you come in here, Bo, if you come in can you come this way, right over my shoulder, hun? And when you cross-check that, it's just dead square, like it was at the back, dead square. And what that is going to do is going to give us some roundness around the front, exactly like the roundness we've got around the back. And then all I'm going to do on top here now, with this style, is we are going to connect it both ways. So I'm just going to connect it through the middle, and then I'll do exactly the same on either side. So literally we pull it up and we connect it to there. You see that? So that's connected to there. And then we are going to connect it to here, but pulling it over. So we're connecting it to that as well. So what that gives us, it gives us a nice, just like triangle in the front there, yeah? And I'm going to do exactly the same on both sides now. Yeah, go on,
I
Des.
remember that haircut when I was at Sassoon's.
You do?
I do, actually. Who was it that, Stacey?
Well, Stacey was the guy that I saw do this hair.
Yeah, I can't remember it now.
I mean, it was pretty much like this. I can't remember it to the T.
It's all bringing back memories, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the concept. So the idea was I wanted to create a very classical black and white images that you could look at like in about 30 years time and it still won't date. So that was the whole idea. And also sort of pay a nod to photographers like David Bailey, etc. So that was my concept for men's. Again, going back to what we were talking about, costs. So, you know, as I say, if you're starting out, you can get models, street models, quite cheap. And then makeup artists, clothes stylists, photographers, you can go on to Model Mayhem. I think they charge for it now. However, there's people on Model Mayhem that do it for free, so they do it for testing. So they all want images. So you get your photographer, makeup artist, model. So in essence, you could probably do a shoot quite cheap. And I would say if you
What do you call quite cheap though? He's not a politician, isn't he? Tell us.
Well, if you're gonna do
What's cheap to you might be really expensive to us.
All right, guys. All right. If you're going to do it, if you're a newcomer, for instance, and you're going to do it that way, then I would say you'll probably spend about, because we've got a print, photography studio, food. You're looking at about £1,000, roughly.
Is what the whole thing?
Minimum. That's a minimum.
Is that all? I thought it'd be a lot more than that.
No, that's if you're starting.
So how much would you charge to do the photography, roughly?
Here's my photographer, here's my politician head on.
No, but I mean, if you was going to do a young person's collection.
So no, okay, all right. I'll put it another way. Okay, I've invested a lot of money. So I've got a camera called a Hasselblad. That camera, and I bought.
Is that German?
Yeah, it is German. But all the big photographers use Hasselblad. And the thing is, if you're competing on that level, you need something with a medium format, so the quality's there, the colour's there, the saturation, and it's pin sharp. So I invested in Hasselblad, and it's paid off because I've won awards with it and stuff, etc. However, that cost me 30 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, so 30 grand.
Wow.
And that's just a camera. And the other day,
That's not the lights.
Listen to this. The other day, I nearly had a heart attack. The other day, the lens went, so the lens has gone off, to Sweden to be fixed. That's going to cost me £1,500, and then I had to buy another lens. I'm doing a shoot tomorrow. I'm doing a shoot all week actually, this next week. But I had to buy another lens, which is £3,500.
Yeah, all adds up.
And then the lights on top of that, and then it goes on and on and on. So you've got to get there, and you've got to pack it all, and you've got to fix it, and they've got assistants. So my fee reflects the cost of my camera.
Of course.
So I would say, depending on image of what you want, but it starts from, and what you've got to remember is not only do you get a photographer, I'm more of an art director, because it's almost, I give guidance. A lot of people shoot with me because obviously I'm
you're experienced,
and I give guidance as well as shoot. So the cost of a shoot with me is, I think it's just for me to just do a shoot. I think it's 1,500. That's for shooting and then retouching on top. That's for 4 images. If you're doing,
and then they've got to get the models and the studio.
And the bits on top of that, and then
still reasonable though, isn't it?
For 8 images, it's 2,500.
Well, especially when you've won people awards. I mean,
absolutely, I personally think it's reasonable. However, some people don't, because that's just for the photography. So once you put makeup artists, clothes stylists, models, studio, food,
all that stuff.
You're looking at about 10 grand, roughly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Roughly.
6,
So it's quite a commitment.
I'd say between 5 and 10 grand. That's what we're looking at.
Boom. So just round the back here.
That looks amazing, by the way.
That's right, we're getting there. So round the back here, we've just brought that up. It's like a 1 length above there, really, just nice and square. Now, for the sake of time, I did one earlier. So let's just...
Kim, I've got a question for you. Michael Saunders is in your
Hi,
Mike.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
He wants to know, what tactics do you use to motivate the people in your...
In my team?
Yeah, in your
I don't really
team.
know, really.
In your class.
In my class?
Yeah.
I just think I just try and pull people with me, really. Try and get people to feel the energy. Try and get people smiling. Yeah? Yeah.
To feel the energy.
Yeah,
Isn't
definitely.
that the F in the
It
STAF
definitely
acronym?
is. Yeah, it is. Stay yourself.
Bit of insider.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to this 1 second. So what I've done, I've cut the other side for the sake of time, but it's exactly the same as I'm going to be doing this side. So we had 2 long bits left, didn't we? From them sections around the front there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to have the head up, nice and natural. I've dried it off nice and straight. And all I'm going to do is literally put the comb. So this is very similar to how we would cut our 1 length above. Put my comb in the pocket, and I'm literally just going to cut it off like this. I'm just going to sketch it in to begin with. I'm not going to worry too much about doing it absolutely perfect. I'm just going to sketch it in. Because once I've got the length that I'm happy with, I can then go over and polish it off. And we do this in the academy. We use this kind of technique because them ears get right in the way, don't they? They cause you a real problem when you come to doing sort of, bobs and stuff. So by just letting the head fall very natural, by drying it straight, by not constantly combing it, just getting the natural fall and then cut it off, we find is a nice, simple way. Then we're going to pull this down over the top. We can see that line underneath there. So Ruby, you got into hair at what age?
Only a few years ago, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is do you mind me? I know you're a young girl compared to all of us, right? But what age did you decide you wanted to get into hairdressing?
So it was a few years ago. I was working in an office for a long time, worked in an office for 6 years, and then just decided to have a change. I got a bit fed up of being at a computer all the time, and then just thought I really enjoy doing hair and I'm going to give it a go. And then sort of just thought, what have I got to lose? So started it a few years ago, and really love it.
And tell me this, Ruby, because you're in North Kent College now, right?
Yeah.
And you're on level 3, yeah?
Yeah.
And how are you enjoying that, first of all?
Yeah, really enjoying it. Yeah, really enjoying it. I think it's brilliant.
Because you did your level 2 somewhere else, didn't you?
Yeah.
And
I did it at another college.
And tell me, how does the Lee Stafford Education model compare to what you did at the other college?
Well, I think it's what Kim said earlier about every teacher teaching the same thing. Basically, it's that, your omelette analogy, about all the chefs, the Michelin star.
Yeah.
It's pretty much sums it up, really. I think when you're all learning the same techniques, doing the same recipes, all teachers the same, everyone's the same, it just helps, because I was in a college where I had 2 different teachers, and then obviously there was a 3rd teacher, the manager there, and everyone's teaching different things. So you come in different days, and that teacher says, "Oh, why she taught you like that? Oh, you shouldn't do it that way. You should do it this way."
Yeah.
Which is confusing. When you're learning, you need consistency, and when you know have all the recipes and they're there online, it is consistent. And you ask one teacher or you ask another, and every answer is the same, which helps if you're learning. You need that consistency. Which just gives you confidence after a while, and I love the fact that you can access it at home.
Yeah.
So you can practice at home. Even the thing I've noticed the most is, like at my last college, you'll get taught a hairstyle.
Yeah.
And you'll go on to new things, and then 2 months later, it'll be like, right, you've got to do that again. And if it's not something that's popular that you've been practicing with friends and family or clients coming in, you think, oh, I can't remember how to do that one. You know, you're only learning, there's so much to learn. It's really difficult to remember everything.
Yeah.
Where with this, you know, you've got it all, you can access it online, at home. You know, if you're going to do, like I've done clients at home, and before, I've gone on and had a little, you know, recheck, you know, if you get, you know, you just,
Head check.
do you know what I mean?
Little head check.
Yeah, because when you're learning, you
Yeah.
know, it's those sort of things that give you that confidence beforehand.
Yeah, and also, you know, you can, if you go out of the classroom and you get home and you think, oh my God, I can't remember that bit, you can just look it up.
Exactly, yeah.
Just look it up.
And then, you know, even, you know, after we've learnt one hairstyle, if you know, afterwards, it's always there.
Yeah.
Well, for a while anyway, yeah. So,
Cool, well, it's a pleasure to have you, darling.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do here now, because these 2 pieces here, you can see this bit, I've ironed this bit and I put a bit of bend here. This is quite raw at the moment. But even still, what I'd like to do, because this is completely one length, I want to kind of make it feel like it's connecting to the back. So what we're going to do here, we're literally just this one length piece nearest to the back. We're going to pull this out, and we're just going to round that off a little bit. And what that's going to do, as that falls, it's going to give it a little bit of roundness that kind of that sits in visually with that. So these pieces now are going to be pulled back to that. You can see, so we're pulling it right back. So we're going to keep that one lengthness at the front. So it's only very, very subtle. And around the fringe here, I mean, you could take this as short as you want. You know, it's already quite short when we cut it. So literally, just with the points and the scissors, we're going to keep that rounded shape going and all the way round to the other side. Then you can go back again. We're using the points of our scissors like this, just so we get a nice textured kind of feeling on the fringe. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a little bit of mousse into my hands. Now, I texturised all of this as well. All around the back, all around this uniform layout section, through the top. I've just point cut it just to take away that really kind of straight edge. You can go in as deep as you want and make it as textured as you want, really. That's kind of putting your own stamp on it. So I'm just going to put all this this mousse through it now, and I'm just going to wet it down a little bit. Just a little. This spray, look, it just keeps giving. Look, that's amazing. Look at it. Just keeps giving that one. A little bit more mousse. Because I want to get a kind of textured kind of vibe going on with this. So get some mousse in there. Now, what I would do now is I would just keep using my fingers to dry this off. But for the sake of time, I don't want to bore you by me finger drying this. So I did one earlier. So this one is exactly the same haircut that I've just done. But this one has been left to dry more naturally. I think it's just a slightly better look rather than it being all poker straight. But like any grey haircut, you can leave it straight, you can put some wave in it, some texture, whatever. So this is the Sheila. This is it left to dry completely naturally. Give us some. What do you think? Is this creative or is it commercial?
Well, I'd say it's creative.
Crazy was the thing.
Crazy, yeah.
Is it crazy or commercial?
I'd say it's more a little bit crazy. I think you could also disconnect the sides and have one side longer than the other. You could play with it and do lots of different things with it.
Ruby, what do you think?
I'd say it was a bit of both. Because I think the fringe, where it's shorter, it's, you know, it is a bit crazy, and then the back, obviously, it is commercial as well.
What do you think, Des? Commercial or crazy?
I think it's very classical. Commercial but edgy.
Commercial,
Edgy, that's good.
Okay, that's good.
It's
Yeah.
got
I think
quite,
when you wear it, it's quite.
and it does depend how you finish it.
Absolutely.
Because how you've done it there is quite nice and soft.
Yeah.
However, if you have that straight, and then you put a bit of wax on top or something,
And it'll be a lot stronger, wouldn't it?
edgier.
Look, yes.
I think it looks quite moddy as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The fringe is definitely a
It is a
60s
bit of a
fringe,
nod
isn't it?
to mods.
Yeah.
And of course, you could leave this fringe maybe a little bit longer, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That would soften it out,
You
wouldn't
know
it?
what's nice? You know, I was looking at thinking, if you took that fringe, if you left that fringe a bit longer, or even if you left it really long and just sweeping across the face, that'd be a really cool, soft, nice little hair.
And that would make it a lot more wearable in the salon, wouldn't it? You know?
Yeah.
But I think for anyone that's watching this, though, I think what's really great, and even for me sitting down watching this, it's those sectioning. Once you've got your sectioning right, then you can adapt it to what you where you want to go. But I think your section is paramount, and getting that back bit in is key.
It is.
This haircut.
Because that's like that supports the whole thing. doesn't it?
Absolutely.
But we say in Lee Stafford Education, all our sectioning patterns are quite like this. Probably not as intricate as this, but the great thing about doing this kind of sectioning, it means that you can mirror it again quite easily.
And
Because there's a real A to Z, you know?
You've got control over what you do.
And if you want to, like you say, cut one side shorter, you can personalise it quite easily as well. You
Your
know.
sections, as you say, are sat nav. Follow your
Sat
sat
nav.
nav. Follow your sat nav and you won't go
So
wrong.
I've been like looking at the video. What did he do?
We've had a few questions on the chat, and they would love to see you do another video specific of the section patterns.
Right.
Especially for that.
Well, we've got the
So
section.
maybe we could quickly explain that
Well,
again.
let's quickly explain that again, the sectioning pattern, because it looks quite intricate, but it's actually quite simple. You do a middle parting down there, then you find the high point of the head, and we go just in front of the high point, and that is a classic triangle. Classic triangle. This is the most tricky bit, is this star bit, because first of all we put our finger on the crown, and we just want to bring that back, that line, and just make it symmetrical with what we've got there to the crown. And we want to make this, literally, we don't want it to be too wide that it goes over the curve of the head, and we don't want it to be too thin that you don't notice it. About a third of a comb. Once you've got that in, which is the trickiest bit, you just go from halfway into there to just behind the ear, get that out of the way. Same on the other side. And then literally from the top of the ear, in between the crown and the occipital bone, you go up to that, and that gives you them two sections. So a little bit tricky to get the sectioning in when you're not used to it, but once you're used to doing pre-sectioning, like we are in the academy, you know, it takes a little bit of time. I don't believe you can get that kind of result unless you put that kind of section in to begin with.
Exactly.
You know, you certainly wouldn't be able to get that a second time
Yeah.
if you didn't put that section in, if you just felt your way through it. So there's a method to our madness. So just before we leave, anything what's coming up this month for you, Des?
For me, I've got loads of shoots. So I'm shooting quite a lot actually. So I'm shooting tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm in the salon Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then I'm shooting on Sunday. Then I fly to Scotland and I'm doing 3 shoots in Scotland.
Wow. So if people want you to shoot for them, this is a guy that's won 9 other people awards, Chris Appleton being one of them. They just approach you on the Instagram page.
Absolutely. Hook me check me out on Instagram. It's desmondmurray.com or desmondmurray.com.
And Kim, what's up? What are you doing this month?
Cutting the Sheila.
Cutting the sheep? Cool.
Everyone at home, let us know if you're going to try this haircut on somebody this week as well. We really want to see your interpretations and your attempts at this haircut.
And Ruby, what are you doing?
I'm not too sure what's in store for us. Probably the same, yeah.
The Sheila. I look forward to seeing it. Al, Ruby, Bo. We haven't even seen Bo. Let's have a look at Bo. We haven't got Luke today. There's Bo. Kim, thank you. Desmond, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
You want to tell everyone
what
you're up to?
Everyone, what am I up to? I'm up to... I'm doing an open evening the 7th of February at North Lindsay College.
Shout out to North Lindsay College.
Yes, I'm also doing an evening with Lee Stafford on the 11th of February, Stoke-on-Trent College. So if you're interested in coming to see me live, then please get in touch with North Lindsay and Stoke-on-Trent College. So thank you once again for watching, guys. Don't forget, it's the first Sunday in every month, 6 o'clock. We're going live at the Stafford's household in Primrose Hill. We'll see you then. Thank you very much.
See you later. Bye.